When home buyers find a home that they love, they show their commitment to the sellers with a sizable chunk of money called the earnest money deposit. Yes, this is a serious undertaking, and if you get it wrong, you could lose your precious money. Here are 7 mistakes with earnest money that home buyers often make, which I want you to be educated about, so that when you buy or someone you know buys, you can help educate them. Now, are you ready? Let's go. Hey, Ravi with the Rams Group at eXp Realty here. If this is the first time you're connecting, I welcome you to my channel, where I strive to provide meaningful, relevant, and educational content to help both home sellers and buyers be in the real estate now. And I thank you for joining. Now, before we get into the potential mistakes that home buyers often make when it comes to earnest money, it's absolutely important to understand how much earnest money is normal, as well as the typical earnest money percentages. Now, I've linked a video I made that goes into greater depth about all the details of earnest money. In short, earnest money deposit is proof that a real estate buyer is earnest, meaning serious, about completing the sale by having more skin in the game, if you will. Now, earnest money is called good faith money, which is generally held by the real estate seller's broker or by escrow to be used as credit towards down payment and or closing costs. And now to the 7 mistakes. Mistake number 1, offering too little or not enough earnest money deposit. In an aggressive real estate seller's market, many homes receive multiple offers from very many anxious buyers, as you may have heard, right? And the Seattle real estate market is no exception. So if you're asking yourself, how much earnest money should I put down? We tell our clients to include an earnest money deposit in their offer that will get the seller's attention. Wow, yes. On an $800,000 home, say, we suggest an earnest money deposit of $32,000 to $40,000, which is about 4 to 5% of the purchase price. Now, depending on the competing offers, that could go up or down. That is normal. However, we are seeing buyers put down as much as 10 to 15% earnest money to make their offer stand out. That's how crazy it is. The real estate agent that you hire should be able to appropriately advise you about the amount of earnest money, as well as creative strategies to help make your offer stand out based on the earnest money aspect alone. Okay? And your earnest money is in jeopardy should you default on the purchase contract for some reason. And you should be very serious about wanting the home before you even make the offer and submit the earnest money. Okay? Now, the bottom line for buyers is that weigh losing the earnest money against the possibility of losing the home. That's a choice that you have to make. Number 2, removing contract contingencies. A big mistake real estate buyers make with their earnest money deposit is that they agree to remove the contingencies that give them protection should they choose to back out of the contract. For instance, if you're a buyer and agree to remove the loan contingency and your financing falls through for some reason, you lose your earnest money. Never give up your right to cancel your purchase until you're 100% certain that you're going to be able to close the transaction, okay? Talk to your lender and get their level of confidence about them closing your loan on time. Now, the other contingencies, such as those regarding a home is uninsurable, inspection issues, a problematic title search, or a house appraisal that comes in too low, also protect a buyer by allowing a penalty-free cancellation of the contract. There may be other instances wherein you, the buyer, can legally pull out and get your earnest money back, but the above contingencies are the most common. And number 3, ignoring contract timelines. This is important. In some cases, the seller's real estate agent includes a timeliness clause with a hard date for closing, after which the earnest money is non-refundable. Now, ensuring that you as a buyer stay on the schedule is dictated by the contract can assist you with not losing your earnest money. This means that carefully tracking how long you have to terminate the contract for a valid reason is very important. Suggest you coming up with a calendar to adhere to the timeline strictly, and your real estate agent can remind you as well, so that you adhere to the timelines strictly. Number 4, buying assets and not knowing the risks. Now, a buyer who purchased a foreclosed property should be cautious putting down a significant amount of earnest money. Now, these properties are typically sold as is by the sellers so that they will stipulate that the earnest money deposit is non-refundable as well in many cases. As a buyer, protect yourself by doing your due diligence before making an offer on such properties. Because if you don't, you'll have to kiss your deposit goodbye should you decide to bail for some reason. Number 5, blindly voiding the contract. When a sale falls through, both the buyer and the seller need to sign a document voiding the sales contract. Now, if a seller won't release all of the earnest money that a buyer feels entitled to, the buyer can refuse to sign the document and essentially make the home unsellable by putting a blemish on title. In other words, buyers should never, ever sign this contract unless they're sure the real estate broker or a title company will give them back all of the earnest money they deserve. Here, the laws and rules may differ from state to state, so seeking the assistance of both your realtor and an attorney who's familiar with the real estate side of things will be to your advantage. Number 6, impulsively purchasing a home that's not a good fit. This may seem like a no-brainer, but it's easy to get swept away by a home's cool features when you first see it, also called the love at first sight. A buyer may put in an offer only to realize days later that the soaking tub may not be as fabulous as they thought. Well, the kitchen is not functional as well. So do your due diligence and make sure that you're 100% serious before making an offer and putting in the earnest money on a home that you thought you loved. If you get cold feet for some reason and back out, it's more likely that you won't get your money back. So be aware of the consequences. Even before dealing with the consequences, doing your due diligence becomes key here, okay? And number 7, not knowing when to let it go when it comes to earnest money. Well, what do I mean? We had clients recently who were going through personal family issues and their marriage was almost about to fall apart, and they decided not to go ahead with the purchase of their home that they absolutely loved when we toured the home along with them. So in this case, they intentionally chose to lose their earnest money and move on. Yes, personal problems that matter to you may cause you to pull out of the deal, and if you're bailing out of a deal without any legal justification or contingencies, fighting to get your earnest money back from escrow is probably a waste of time. As painful as it is losing your money, just accept it as it is and move on. Now, those are the 7 mistakes that I wanted to point out to you for you as a buyer to be aware of should you choose to go under contract and pull out for some reason, and let you know what is at stake. Well, now you know.